Put the needle on the record.
Brunson stops on a dime, launches. Oh yeah! Jalen Brunson buries it.
They give it to B. All right, here it is. Bernard looking for 50, and he's got it. Back-to-back 50-point games for Bernard King.
Now has Starks for Ewing. Ewing with the spin. Ewing, yes! 1 8 seconds remaining. The Knicks lead by 1.
While it's only been a few short months, it seems like an eternity. This is Tim. This is New York Knicks Unleashed, bringing you that time to get ready for the Cavaliers versus the Knicks at MSG, of course, Wednesday, October 22nd, kicking off the season, which is in a day. Oh, I just can't wait. The way the season ended last year, I'm not going to say you left with a sour taste in your mouth, but it was one of those series against Indiana that so many things early on in the series kind of was just so wacky. I could still see the ball bouncing off the back of the rim, going up 4,978 feet and dropping straight in. I think that image will be burned into my head. But now we are kicking off the 2025-26 season. We are getting ready. We're going to talk Knicks Cavs here. We're going to do a little preview of the game. We're going to do, we should do a little bit of news right off the bat because the Cavaliers, to the Knicks' detriment, I think, got some positive news on Darius Garland. He's been out with the toe injury. They haven't said when he was going to make his season debut, but the two-time All-Star, he did participate in most of the practices on Monday, which seems to be a step in the right direction. He suffered a toe injury at the end of last season. Then I think he re-aggravated back in the first round of the playoffs against the Heat. He rushed back, if everyone remembers, for game 3, but he wasn't anything special. He wasn't anything ready. So it took him he had the surgery to repair the toe. He was given about a 4 to 5 month timeline in reference to come back to resume basketball activities. But most figured he was going to miss the start of the regular season and start sometime maybe in November. I'm not saying that he's playing on Wednesday. I am just saying Garland, who averaged 20.6 points, 6.7 assists last year, was solely missed in that series for the Cavaliers, where they missed his scoring efficiency and his playmaking ability. So we got to kind of have our fingers crossed a little bit that he is going to stay on the bench and not make any appearance in this series. This is one of these games that these are two teams that I'm not going to say mirror each other, but they're two teams that are kind of on the same trajectory, on the same collision course, and have the same type of championship window. Cavaliers, of course, last year averaged 21.9 points per game, which is one of the best in reference to scoring. Of course, because 21.9 points. I mean, that's pretty fucking phenomenal if you ask me. The Knicks weren't too far behind, if you remember last year. I can't even think what I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what the Knicks were, but they were 115. They were 115.8 in reference to scoring, which again they had this offense in New York last year under Thibodeau. We've talked about it briefly, where I like to refer to it as the breakdown offense, where you go into that classic half court ISO, and it was like you kick the ball into Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, and sometimes it's where balls go to die.
That's what she said.
Sorry, I just had to. But we need to take a look at this game a little bit more in depth. Right now, I think the Knicks' strength, of course, is going to be the continuation of their star power with Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Josh Hart. Bridges, of course, signed an extension back in August 2025, so he's going to be here a while. He's an integral part to this team. As much as certain people want to get on his ass, Bridges is one of those guys that never leaves the court like Josh Hart. And then you look at his stat line and you go, boy, he really sucked. But then you're like, well, he also played 48 minutes. And he also did all these other things. This offseason, there's been an emphasis on depth And I think in my mind with the Mike Brown system, basically increasing the pace of the offense, create more motion in the offense. We've talked about this before. There's really, Mike Brown said there's really no set game plan, no set plays. They just want to see crisp passing. They want to see fluidity. They want to see where everyone's getting the opportunity. And I love the one Mike Brown said, I don't want anyone standing around. If you don't have the ball, you need to be in motion. And that's why I said this is going to be a motion. Hopefully it's going to be a motion style offense, kind of predicated on Golden State from those championship days when Mike Brown was an assistant. So we're going to kind of have to see where we end up. And going against the Cavaliers is really, it's going to be, I'm not going to say Herculean task, but this is a test right off the bat. You got the core four, of course, in Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, which we'll have to see what happens with Darius, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. Highly efficient offensively all of last year's. I personally think they were probably the best. We talked about it, the best offense in basketball last year. And the thing is with them, they're gaining more continuity. They're gaining more experience. It's the health of the team, kind of like the Knicks at times, which has been a big issue with Cleveland. Like I said, that Garland injury was devastating. And you have to hope, like I said, his readiness is not available. Defensively, neither one of these teams at times are stalwarts. Knicks are better defensively in my mind than Cleveland. I go back to Jalen Brunson's days in those playoff series against Donovan Mitchell when they both put up 40, and I like to refer to it as the Olay game because it was Olay. No one seemed to want to stop the other opponent. No one seemed to want to play defense, but I do think that the Knicks are well of a step above the Cleveland Cavaliers. But the problem is the way they run their offense, the way they run the motion, the way they run, basically run and gun at times at Cleveland, you are going to have to make sure you are strong enough to and not dilly-dally up the court. You're going to have to get there. You're going to have to get there quickly. They will evolve offensively and go beyond the pick and roll. And they're going to leverage their full talents in regards to that. So the Knicks are going to need to be a little bit wary with that. And you take a look at it, but Donovan Mitchell is the prime scorer. He's the leader. How the Knicks defend him, in my mind, is going to be the major focus. Because of the fact that I think if you can stop and slow down Donovan Mitchell, if you can not contain him, but you can keep him within 15 to 20 points, you got a good shot at winning the game. Evan Mobley, of course, is the big forward. I think he's growing both defensively and offensively. He's learning how to stretch the floor. He's helping create mismatches for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Jared Allen's the rebounder. We've talked about it before. He's the interior rim protector. He basically anchors the backcourt. I don't know if DeAndre Hunter was I don't know if he's going to be. I don't think if he's going to. I'm not sure if he's in. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the injury report on him lately, but I have to kind of wait and see. It's going to be an interesting matchup again between Brunson and Garland. You basically have the two quarterbacks running the show. Brunson, of course, has the ability to generate his own shot. Same with Garland. And like I said, Garland, if he plays, and if Garland plays. He uses his speed. He uses his ability to create the pick and roll. But like I said, I don't know if Garland's going to be out there. I think the one of the other issues we're going to have to look at in reference to the Knicks is going to be Towns versus Mobley and Allen. Mobley and Allen have the size and the versatility. Sorry, I can't speak today. Towns to me, Towns is going to need to exploit this as a mismatch. You're going to have to see the big bodega actually putting up some points, actually crashing the boards, I think in my mind, if you're going to facilitate the offense and you're going to go more with this running motion style offense, you are going to have to use Karl-Anthony Towns as an integral part to this. Is he ready for that? I think he is. We've seen him be the stalwart offensively. He's just going to have to continue to be that way. I think right now with the Knicks, though, we're going to have to worry about health a little bit. Josh Hart, of course, was nursing the back injury. OG Anunoby was listed day to day as well, and so was Karl Anthony Towns. So we're gonna have to kind of wait and see. Mitchell Robinson, they looked like I have Mitchell on load management. He was listed on the injury report as well, so we have to see what Mitchie the Kid's gonna do. It's gonna be interesting because, like I said, the Knicks bench is in my mind is totally different from last year. It's gonna be one of those things with Miles McBride. I love Jordan Clarkson. I literally love to watch him play. I was at every Knick preseason game at home and watching the energy and scoring ability and just he has this prowess about him. He is going to be the integral part to that second unit. Same with Gershon, the dancing bear. I love Gershon. Gershon is a guy that I watch play in Philadelphia extensively. He's going to give us so much. To me, he's going to give you so much energy. He's going to give you so much attitude. He's going to do a little bit of everything, a little bit well. Nothing great, but it's always good. It's always going to be something. And then we got Landry. I mean, of course, you got McBride. You got Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench if he's healthy. You also got the Shamet. You got Landry coming off the bench. Tyler to me is going to have to be that backup point guard. I don't think Mike Brown is in love with him, but he is probably the best passer on the team. I'm curious to see how Mike Brown facilitates with the point guard when Brunson is out. There was talk that if Josh Hart was healthy, he was going to maybe use Josh Hart as a facilitator. I can see that, and I can see it's doing the same thing with Bridges, but not for an extended period of time. But like I said, if it's me, I would probably use Bridges more because he's more of that. Bridges I'm not going to say more complete two-way player than Josh Hart. I think he can do a little bit more. He has again that perimeter defense. He's good at spot up shooting. He doesn't have to have the ball to create his own shot. He can move in motion. So it's difficult to say, but like I said, right now also with Josh Hart, he is a question mark. We have to see what the back does. But Josh Hart is that defensive glue. He's that rebounder, and he is a creator as well. But like I said, we have to wait and see what the injuries dictate. Keys to the Knicks win: getting these guys out here healthy. Getting the starters on the court. That would be a huge key. Control the boards. Protect the rim, especially if Robinson's in there. Get the offensive rebounds. Get your second chance shots. Limit the Cavaliers in transition. Force the Cavaliers out of their comfort zone. You're not going to do it completely, but make them execute in a half-court set. Get the depth to contribute. Get your bench to contribute. The problem with the Knicks last year at times is the bench is where points went to die. And you have a bench this year, but you need contributors on that bench because to me, the starters cannot carry the load all season long like they have. But I think, like I said, I between Gershon, between Mitchell Robinson, between Clarkson, I would have, like I said, Malcolm Brogdon retired. There was something off about Malcolm when I watched him play, and we talked about it in the last pod. There was something off with him. I didn't think he was going to retire, but I did think he created a hole when he left in reference to that second facilitator. So we're going to have to wait and see. Keys to the Cavaliers winning, which we always hate to talk about, but we're going to talk about it anyways. They're going to they want to get into an offensive flow early, push the tempo, and then basically make the Knicks adjust. They're going to try to exploit any mismatches they possibly can, especially with the Knicks learning a new system. Their key is going to have to be to stay disciplined defensively versus Brunson, which is a Herculean task in itself. And once again, I think the biggest issue, like the Knicks, the bench must provide stable production or the starters are just going to wear themselves out. This is a big test for the Knicks right off the bat. This really is. This is going to show the Knicks. First of all, it's rough as it is for the Knicks because of the fact that they're going to have to. They're running a new system. They got a new head coach. They have a lot of the same. I mean, they have basically the same players. You have a new bench. You're going to be using that bench more. But this is going to be something interesting to watch with these Knicks, how they flow together, who is going to be that second facilitator, and if health is going to have to be a key right now between Hart, Towns, and OG Anunoby. I'm excited for the season. Are we going to be at the home opener? Yeah, fuck yeah. We're going to be there like we always are. We're going to try to make out. We're not going to be able to make 81 games this year, but we're going to try to be out there for at least 25, 30 games, bringing you everything that we can in reference to Knicks. We're going to have a fun season because, like I said before, I think if the Knicks are going to make the playoffs and make a run for the ship, this is going to be the year. You gotta move forward to the championship this year. Anything else, to me, is a lost season. And I think we got the chops to do it. Don't forget, this is going to be a bi-weekly to tri-weekly podcast. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And as always, this is Tim. This is Knicks Unleashed. And we're out of here.